Welcome to Roadmap to 1 Million. My name is Stacy Zeal, and if you're looking to make more money, gain your time back, and rapidly grow your visibility so that you can impact way more people with your brilliance, you're in the right place. This podcast is your one-stop shop for turning your online business dreams into a reality. My main goal is to give women entrepreneurs just like you the marketing strategies, guidance, and expert insights you need to hit that $1 million milestone and beyond. Whether you're a coach, a consultant, or an online brand that wants to make a big impact, Roadmap to 1 Million gives you the actionable strategies and inspiration you need so that you can implement right away, no fluff, no fuss. So CEO, are you ready to buckle up and accelerate your growth? Be sure to follow the show and let's dive in. Get ready to uncover your roadmap to 1 million. Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. Are you doing all the things but hit a revenue ceiling? You're building an audience, you're creating content and making sales, but you feel like something is holding you back from your next milestone. If that sounds like you, it's time to take our What's Your Missing Marketing Link quiz, your go-to tool to identify what's missing from your marketing strategy that might be holding back your business growth. Whether it's fixing your funnel or diversifying your efforts, this quiz will pinpoint those marketing missteps and guide you to success. Take the quiz today and uncover the missing link in your path to 7 figures and beyond. So head over to stacyzeal.co/quiz because success begins with identifying and fixing those mistakes. So don't miss out. Your business deserves to have the impact you desire. Visit stacyzeal.co/quiz. That's stacyzeal.co/quiz to get a detailed report and the resources you need to help you grow. All right, let's jump back into the episode. Hello. We are talking about math today, y'all, and I am not going to overwhelm you with math. I want you to understand what it really is going to take to be able to get the kind of results that you want out of your advertising. And so if you are thinking about Facebook ads for 2024 and you're really trying to weigh your options to figure out what is the best route for you to take, then you definitely want to make sure that you pay attention to this live, make sure that you share this with some folks because this is going to be really impactful for you as you're thinking about your budgets for next year. So before I jump into that, let me tell you a little bit about me. Hey, if you are new to my world, welcome. My name is Stacy, and I am a marketing consultant. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer, and I specialize in Facebook and Instagram ads. I've generated $150 million running ads for companies like Zappos, Crocs, Adidas, all very large brands. And I had the privilege to be able to work directly with Meta and TikTok and Pinterest and people who actually work at these platforms to teach me how to do what I do. And so now I work with small businesses and I help them to accelerate their growth by leveraging Facebook and Instagram ads, as well as some different strategic marketing things. And so if you are really considering Facebook ads for 2024 and you're not sure which route to go, whether you want to go with an agency, you want to do it yourself, whether you want to hire a freelancer, then definitely DM me because I will absolutely give you my honest opinion about where, based on where you're at, based on where your goals are, based on your budgets, all those kinds of things. I'm going to give you the real deal on which route will make the most sense for you. And where this came from, for a little context, I've been having a good amount of DM conversations this week with people who want to invest in Facebook ads and they are saying, hey, I'm looking for an agency. Can you give me a recommendation for an agency? And so when I start to do a little bit more digging, I start to understand that, an agency may not be the best route for you right now because of your budget. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I want to talk to you about how you get the most bang for your buck, where, what are the different kind of cost considerations that you have to think about when you think about the different options that you have with running your ads. So make sure that y'all tag some people in here because it's going to be very impactful. If you're watching the replay, let me know. But let me know in the chat if you have any questions about what I'm going to be talking about today. Or if anything comes up, if you have any questions about Facebook ads in general, right? I just really wanted to pop in here because I've been having these conversations via DMs. I've been posting about it on my Facebook page, but I wanted to give you a comprehensive, really kind of look at how this actually works. So I had someone who reached out to me via DM Well, we started talking because and honestly, this has actually been happening like 3 or 4 times the last few times that I think about it. But I was having a conversation with someone, and she mentioned, I was like, okay, well, how much, what's your, asking all these questions that I usually do. And then I asked, like, well, what's your budget? What are you thinking about spending for ads? And she mentioned to me, like, oh, well, I'm thinking, I'll spend, $500 on ads, and I'm willing to pay up to $1,500 for someone to run the ads for me. And so when I heard that, red flags went off in my head because I understand how Facebook's algorithm works. Like I mentioned, I've generated $150 million. I've actually been someone who was running ads, building them with my 2 hands, having strict KPIs, all that kind of stuff. So I know how this works. And I want you to understand that you as the business owner may be willing to pay somebody $1,500 to be able to run your ads for you. And you're willing to, give them, let's say your whole budget is $2,000. You're, as the CEO, you're spending $2,000 a month to the freelancer, to the person who is running the ads for you, and to Mark, Mark Zuckerberg. You're only giving Facebook 500 of those dollars. And so that person has to really get you a significant ROI on that $500 for it to make sense for you to be able to actually, get that money back. And so really, when you think about running ads, you have 3 options. You can either do it yourself, meaning you and your team can do it internally. You can either hire a freelancer, someone who maybe side hustles, maybe they work at an agency or something like that, and they just hustle on the side. Or you can hire an ad agency that's going to really kind of be able to guide you on strategy. Maybe they do the creative, maybe they do, all kinds of different things. So you have those 3 options when it comes to running ads. And so I want to talk about the cost differences between each of those things. But I want to tell you, as a rule of thumb, if you are spending more money in having someone manage your ads than you are to be able to give to Mark and to give to Facebook, then you are going to have a significantly harder time making your money back. I see it all the time. This is why a lot of people do not make money off of the agencies that they're working with, or they're struggling to get that ROI because you're taking a very small budget, a very small piece of that budget, and having to account for and having to make up for the ad spend, the managed services fees that go into it. And so let's talk about the differences. Okay, so let's say we have a $5,000 a month budget. So I'm going to break down fees and how much you're spending in ads, right? So typically, let's start with freelance. Well, let's start with a freelancer. If you are working with a freelancer, typically a freelancer who has some decent skills is going to cost you at least $1,500 a month to be able to manage your ads for you. If you are, so let's say out of that $5,000, you're giving $1,500 of it to a freelancer. That leaves you $3,500 to put into ads, to really be able to put into your ads and to give to Mark. The thing about it is that if that person has to get you a 2x return on your ad spend on that $3,500 for you to make a $2,000 profit, right? That's pretty good, right? You're recouping. If that person is consistently able to get you a 2x return on your $3,500, you're able to cover the costs of your ads, and you're able to cover the cost of their fee, and you get $2,000 of profit on top of that. Right. And so that is definitely a really good option for y'all who out there that are saying like, hey, I don't want to run my own ads. I don't have the skill set. I don't have the desire to learn, but I really would like to have someone else kind of hand this off. But maybe I'm not at the place where I can afford an agency. Right. So that's one thing. So if a freelancer is able to 2x your ad spend, then you be in a really, really good spot where you are actually making profit. And then the thing with that, though, you have to keep in mind is that this has to be consistently, they have to make you 2 times your money, right? You do have to think about great question, Sarah. Let me answer your question in a second. So you have to think about to getting 2x of your money, like getting a freelancer to 2x your ad spend, you're going to be in a really good spot because then you're able to make $2,000 on top of what you've already kind of put out. All right, let's talk about an agency. So if you have a $5,000 budget with an agencies are going to cost you significantly more than it's going to cost for a freelancer to run your ads. You tap into a different skill set though, right? Like a freelancer that may be doing this on the side. Maybe they work in an agency and they're kind of hustling on the side. Maybe, they took a course or something and they think that they can actually, get you results, right? So a freelancer may not have the skill set that an agency actually has. And so that's a pro for using an agency, right? Like, they typically have a better skill set. Not always though, because I will tell you, when I was working at Zappos, originally when I came in and working at Zappos, I was hired to spend a small portion of the ad of our total budget on certain campaigns, but then we had an agency that was managing a significant amount. They were managing maybe 80% of the ad spend. And this agency was costing a lot of money. Mind you, this is one of the big, big top agencies. And when I realized, when I was starting to kind of look into what they were doing, because the good thing with Zappos is that I was able to look and see what this agency was doing. Right. I was able to go in, look at how they were structuring their ads. I wasn't just relying on them giving me reporting and telling me, spinning numbers about what's good or what's not. Right. I actually had a skill set, had a knowledge about how ads actually work. So I was able to work with this agency and talk to them in the same language. I was able to what I did was I went into the ads that they were running. And I'm like, these are not set up correctly. We had ads for Skechers that were running to people who liked Prada. And, I'm not a Prada girl yet, but let me tell you, I'm sure that the people who are buying Prada are not the same people that are buying Skechers, right? And so I was able to have a skill set and be able to check this agency essentially to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing and they weren't just feeding us a bunch of bullshit. And so what we realized is that I took this to my boss. I'm like, hey, like, we're not getting, we're really not making that much money off of these ads, especially when you account for their fee. Right? Because it's not just because what an agency, is going to tell you, not some, if you're thinking about, agency in general, there are some really good agencies out there. So this is not an agency hating kind of thing, but I want to give you the context so that you can go into these conversations and, and be able to have a good a conversation with someone and actually know what you're talking about. So we were not making as much money on these ads because we had to account for how much we were paying an agency. Right. And so even if an agency is saying to you, hey, I'm able to get you a 3x on your ad spend, that's great. But how much are they charging you to run those ads? You have to factor that into your ROI. And so if you think about when we take our $5,000 budget, like we did with our freelancer, and you're paying an agency at least $3,500 a month, you are really not going to be able to find a good agency that's less than $3,500 a month. And most of the time, agencies do also they take a percentage of the ad spend. And they do that because that protects them as you're getting more successful, right? So if you're going from $5,000, you're seeing success and they get you to $10,000, they want to be able to recoup some of that cost, right? And so most agencies do charge a percentage of ad spend, but I'm taking that off the table for the simple sake of math, right? So if you have $5,000, to be able to spend every month on your ads, and your agency is taking $3,500 of that off the top, right? They're taking that's their fee. They're taking that $3,500. That only leaves you with $1,500 to give to Mark, right? To put into Facebook so you actually be able to see some performance. So that agency would have to get you a 3.5 return on your ad spend on that $1,500 to break even, right? To be able to actually say, like, look, you know what? We're covering our costs. Right? They're going to have to get you at least a 5x return on your money for it to make sense for you, right? For it to even be worth it, right? So if they're getting you a 5x on your $1,500, that means you make $2,500 off of that, So, but that's the thing is you have to make sure that you're doing this kind of math, and you have to make sure that it is consistent, right? Because that's not always going to be the case. Getting a 5x return on your money consistently is not impossible, but it's not the norm. Right? It's really not the norm, right? If you're looking at averages, 3 times your money is something where you can kind of expect. And that's where you want to be in a good spot. When I was working at Zappos, we had specific, ROI goals for each different audience segment. So we had, goals for, new customers to get a 3x on our money. We had, existing customers that we needed to get, a certain return on our money, right? And so to answer your question, Sarah, about what is a good ROI on ads, I would say that if you're getting somewhere about a 3x return on your money, you're in a good spot. But you have to keep in mind the cost of having the agency run it for you. Because like I mentioned in this example, if you're paying $3,500 to an agency and you're only able to put $1,500 into your ads, even if they get you a 3x on return on your money, you're still not breaking even. They'd have to get you a minimum of a 3.5 return consistently. And then they'd have to even make you get a 5x return on your money for it to make sense for you, for actually to be worth it, right? Because we don't want to just break even with our ads. The beauty of ads is being able to, put in some money and be able to get 3, 4, 5 times your money back, right? So that's what you want to focus on. So don't just take into account how much what the return on your ad spend is. If they're telling you, hey, you're getting a 3x return on your ad spend, you're like, oh, that's great. But you don't take into the account how much the fees that they are, that they're charging, you actually might be in a place where you're either losing money or you're just breaking even. All right. So let's talk about running ads yourself, because we talked about freelancers. You get a 2x return on with a freelancer, you should be pretty good. You're making a couple $1,000s. With our agency, they have to get you a 5x return on your money consistently in order for you to make $2,500 off of this, scenario here of a $5,000 spend. If you want to do it yourself, let's talk about numbers about doing it yourself. When you do it yourself, you have $0 in management fees, right? Maybe you spend $1,000 on my course, which is going up. The price is going up after the new year, so make sure you hop on it. And I'll put a link in the chat for everybody to get it. But let's take into account you're spending $1,000 to learn how to do this one time, right? You spend $1,000, you grab my course, you learn everything you need to know. You start to be able to put that $4,000 towards Mark. You give Mark that $4,000. Anytime, any return that you get is that's higher than a 1x return, you're already making money. Because if you're putting $4,000 in and you're able to double your money, that means you're making $8,000, right? If you are able to 3x your money when you're running ads yourself, that's you getting back that $15,000 that you're making $15,000, right? Minus that $1,000 that you spent on being able to on learning how to do it with my course, right? So I want you to understand that if you are paying your agency more than you are able to put into your ads, you're going to have a very, very hard time getting your money back. Because getting a 6x on your money, getting a 5x return on your money is not the norm. That's not something that is normal, that's just easy to hit, right? Most people are going to be able to get you, if they're really good at what they do, you can get a 3x return on your money. That's pretty standard. Be able to get a 2, 3x on your money. We're aiming for 3, maybe we can get a 4x. Getting a 5x on your money, especially consistently is a little more difficult, right? And the other thing I want you to understand is that agencies are not magicians, right? They are not, just because you're hiring an agency does not mean that they are going to magically be able to get you a higher return than you would be able to do it yourself, right? Like I mentioned, when I was at Zappos, this agency was getting us a 3x return on our ad spend. But when you take into account how much we're paying this agency, we're not making money. But when I moved everything in-house, right? We ended up moving everything in-house. All they had to, account for was my salary. And mind you, I made $150 million with Facebook and Instagram ads over the course that I was there. My salary wasn't $150 million. It wasn't nowhere near that, right? And so that money that they were making on me actually, running the ads, right? It's a significantly higher ROI when you do it in-house, because in-house, you just have to account for some education, right? Maybe you do a VIP day to have somebody help you and set it up and get you going, right? But once you learn the skill set, once you have the resources inside to be able to do this yourself, every month after that, you are making more money. So your profit margins are a lot higher when you are doing this yourself, because all you have to do is invest in education. And am I saying that you're going to hit it right out the gate because there is a bit of, you have to learn, right? No, I'm not saying that you're going to, run your first campaign and you're going to get a 5x return on your money if you do it yourself. What I'm saying is that you have more budget to be able to play with when you do it yourself, because an agency is only going to be able to do but so much with $1,500. Because to the agency, all I have to spend is $1,500. But to you, the business owner, you're spending $5,000 a month. You don't, because their percentage, because that $3,500 of their fee is going to them and it's coming out of your pocket. But even though that $1,500, they're like, oh, well, we got you a 3x return on your money on that $1,500. Okay, great. But when when I take into account how much I'm also paying you, I'm barely breaking even. I think when I did the math, you're at like 4,900, right? So breaking even doesn't make sense, right? Because we want our ads to be as something in our business that generates exponentially more money. We want to get 3, 4, 5 times our money, period, not just what we're actually spending it on ads, right? So when you're running ads yourself, you're putting $5,000 in and you 2x your money, you're making $10,000, right? When you do that with an agency, you put $3,500 in and they make a 2x on your money, right? You're making $7,000, but you still got to you still have to take into account what their fees are, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about who's going to run your ads, because it's not as simple as saying, I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna hire somebody. Because what happens is you end up hiring a bunch of agencies that, you're not able to check. You have to believe what they say because you have no knowledge base and no idea how Facebook ads work. So you're like, oh, they telling me they can only get me a 3x return on my money. Facebook ads must just not work for me, right? You have more control when you do it yourself. You're able to be more nimble when you do it yourself. And so I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if this was helpful when you're thinking about, the math that it's going to take. I had someone I talked to today. She's like, hey, I have about $500 that I can spend on ads. I'm really not sure how much I can pay, how much it's going to cost to hire somebody to do this for me. Can you give me an idea how much that's going to cost? And I'm like, okay, well, if you have $500 to spend, it's going to cost you, but if you're not going to do it yourself, it's going to cost you a minimum of like $1,500 a month to be able to get somebody to do this for you. So that means that person has to turn that $500 into like $3,000, $4,000 in order for you to make any money. And thinking about that, conceptualize it, do the math, right? Think about the number that you have in mind of how much you're going to spend. Because if you have a total budget of $2,000 and you're like, hey, I can spend $500 in ads and $1,500 to a freelancer, if your total budget is $2,000, what happens if you just took that $2,000, invested in my course, so that takes $1,000 out, and you then put that $1,000 in to the ads, and you start to make money on that, right? All of that money that you create is going to go into your pocket. And then you only have to pay for the course once, and you get the support, you get the monthly support, you get the group, the Facebook group and all that kind of stuff. But you pay for it once, you learn the skill set, and you're able to make a lot more money in the long run, right? So I do not believe that if you are spending less than $5,000 in ads, that you should be hiring an agency. If your budget is less than $5,000, you do not need to hire an agency. You can absolutely do that yourself. I would even argue that if you're spending less than $10,000, but let's keep it at 5 since we've been using 5, right? So use that as a rule of thumb. To wrap this in a bow, keep in mind, be realistic when we think about your budget. If you have less than $5,000 to be able to spend, do not hire an agency. Run your ads yourself. Get somebody and train somebody in-house to be able to do this, right? Whether it's you and your assistant or someone on your marketing team that's learning how to do this, you can invest in training, get them, up to speed where they can go, and then they can actually do it for you. And all you have to account for is their salary and you're also having them do other things, right? So they're not only running your ads, unless you're at that place where you are spending a good amount of money, you want someone to be dedicated to it. But if you're spending less than $5,000, you really don't need an agency. You need to do that yourself so that you can get the most for your money. You can get the most bang for your buck. Because again, ad agencies are not magicians. It is going to take testing. It's going to take for them to have some budget to actually work with, to try different things. So if you are able to pay your agency 3 times what you can spend on Facebook, that puts you in a really, really good spot. So let's say like if you have a $10,000 budget and $3,500 of it is going to an agency and the rest is actually going towards ads, when that agency doubles your money, then you're making a significant amount of money. Then it makes sense. So those are kind of the rules of thumbs that I have. If you're spending less than $5,000 a month, you need to do that yourself. If you are unable to pay your agency 3 times what you're able to pay them to put into, if you're not able to put, 3 times your money into ads versus what you're paying them, then it's not worth it. Right? Because again, they're not magicians. Just because they have this skill set and they've done this before does not mean that they are better at it than you are. That just means they have more experience and you need to get the experience and the training that you need. And I'm even telling you this, a lot of these agencies out here do not know what they're doing. I've audited them. I've had clients where I would say, hey, let me take a look at your Facebook ads. I'm working with them on something else. Let me take a look at your Facebook ads, because why are you not making all this money on Facebook ads? This brand is amazing for it. Had a very niche product, very engaged social channels, which we were doing the organic social, very engaged. But then when I took a look at their ads, I'm like, y'all barely even breaking even. You're getting like a 1x return on the ad spend. And that doesn't account for how much you're paying this agency, right? And so when I audited them, I went in, I said, hey, here's some recommendations. Here's some things that you can do. They went from 1x on their money and 5xing their money because they had someone to come in and give them the training that they needed and the insights that they needed to be able to get, to be able to go from a 1x to a 5x. And so keep those kinds of things in mind. So Sarah, if you're asking, is it worth learning to manage them myself as a small business? Yes, it is. It absolutely is, because you pay for training one time and you're able to take that skill set and you're able to apply it you're able to use that every month, right? Like you don't have to pay somebody $3,500 every single month to run your ads when you take the time to invest in the training that you need one time. And then you start to do some testing and start to play around and figure out how to best get you the best ROI, but you make your money back a lot faster. And so for those of you out there if you cannot spend more than $10,000 a month, do not hire an agency. Learn how to do that yourself, right? Keep that in-house, keep all of that money in-house so that way you can make more profit. All right. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions. Let me know if this was helpful. So again, your three options: you have freelancers, you have an agency, and you can do it yourself. When you hire a freelancer, they may have a little bit less skill set, but they actually are able to, but they cost significantly less. So that means you make more money or you make more profit. When you have an agency and you're unable to give them a significant amount of budget for them to be able to work with, to be able to get you that money back, then you're going to have a very, very hard time getting your money. You're going to have a hard time profit, right? As I said, get 3x return on your money is not easy, right? It's not something that is the norm. It's something that you're aiming for, it's something that you're going for. But even getting a 3x on your money based on our example, that just means you break even. So an agency is going to have to get you a 5x return on your money consistently in order for it to be worth it for you. And if you do it yourself, as I mentioned, you put $2,000 in and you double your money, you got that $2,000 right back, right? You 3x your money on you 3x money on $1,000, then you keep all that money, right? And you subtract your expenses. And honestly, my course is tax deductible, y'all. Courses, ads are tax deductible. You can write them things off on your taxes. Okay. So if you're even thinking about now as the year is about to end, trying to figure out like, how do I, make it so that I, can expense some things and not pay as much. Ads are expensible, courses, things like that. Their professional development, they are expensible. Right. And so even if you're thinking about that, once you running it yourself gives you the most profit, whether that's hiring an assistant to come in and help you with this. If you're time strapped, I had someone today, I said, okay, well, this is your budget. You said that you don't have time for this. How about you take some of that budget and hire you a marketing assistant? And once you get that marketing assistant up to speed, then you train them on how to run ads, or you get a marketing assistant that has a little bit of ad experience, right? And then that way your time is freed up. You're getting a lot more stuff done, and you're getting your ads managed, and you're doing it for a lot less, for significantly less than it would cost to hire an agency. And so if you need an agency, recommendation, I have a great agency that I consult with, that I am actually on her team, and I'm helping her people with the strategy. And so that way we can get our clients the best results. So if you need an agency recommendation, please let me know. But if you want to grab my course is stacyzeal.co/flash. If you go to that, you can get it for $9.97. So stacyzeal.co/flash, FLASH. But that is what I want y'all to understand, that it's more, that this conversation goes beyond, I don't know how to run ads, I don't feel like learning how to do it. Because if you're in a place where you're, expecting a lot from people, and they're actually not able to deliver for you, you're thinking, the Facebook ads don't work for me. But really, it's just that you're not in a place where you're thinking about profit when you're hiring people to do this for you. Okay. All right. So this has gone on way longer than I thought, y'all. I was literally expecting this to be about 10 minutes, to be honest. But I'm glad that it was helpful. Again, you can go to stacyzeal.co/flash and you can grab the course for $9.97. And I want you to understand that the price of my course is going up in 2024. And I am not bullshitting. The price is going up. We are making some significant upgrades to the course. We have support with this course. We have office hours that I had today. We have a Facebook group, right, that people can jump into and you get your questions answered. So you get a lot of support. And I have some brand new modules that are coming out about my Forever Freedom Funnel. So if you're someone who is adding a digital product to your suite for next year, or you want to prioritize having your digital product kind of run itself and sell itself in the background with ads, you definitely want to get into this course now, because once that module drops, y'all, the price is going up. Yesterday's price is not today's price, okay? But I'm letting you know, you have until January 1st to get my course for $9.97. Otherwise, it's going to be $1,500. And I'm honestly even thinking about not even discounting my course at all next year. Like, just say, price is the price, right? I know people say like, oh, give people discounts with it, but this course is very, very, really well put together, right? It's very, very impactful. I put my heart and soul into this. I get people who are in it who are telling me that it's very impactful for them, right? And so I know that if you follow the methodologies, you follow the frameworks, you get support, you get the help you need, you raise your hand when you say, hey, I have a question, right? I'm accessible. I'm there for my students. I'm able to create these office hours and the support so that you can get the questions you have answered. But either way, the course is fantastic. And so go to stacyzeal.co/flash. You can get it for $9.97. And then you're able to maximize your budget, right? So, because that's what I want y'all to do. I'm very honest. And if you're unsure, DM me and I will absolutely tell you my honest opinion. I had someone today I was on the phone with. I absolutely probably could have sold her my course. She was a referral. She was an easy sale. I could have actually sold her my course, but I'm like, nope, my course is not right for you. I book a strategy session. We need to talk, so we can talk through this, right? So I'm very honest with people because I want you to come into my program and I want you to get results. Okay. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today. And I will check in with y'all a little later. OMG, that episode was packed with gems. Are you ready for more? Head over to stacyzeal.co/podcast to get the show notes and to sign up to get our top 5 podcast episodes to help you streamline your marketing so you can make this your $1 million year. Head over to stacyzeal.co/podcast.